y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sanusi Vision Art Life. My name is Adewale Wika Jr. Please review us, rate us, give us a 5-star. Don't be a hater. Today, we got a special guest, Sean Lenahan. But before we bring him, I got to thank our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by the Sanusi Vision Podcast, brought to you by A4 Capital Consulting. Growing good business anywhere and everywhere. Let A4 Capital Consulting take your business to the next level. That's A4CapitalConsulting.com for details, y'all. That's A4CapitalConsulting.com for details, y'all. And this podcast also brought to you by Anadel Foot and Ankle. Don't live with foot pain. Let Anadel Foot and Ankle make your feet happy again. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. As I stated, I got Sean Lenahan with me. This guy, to introduce this guy, he's an independent artist. He's a comic expo vendor. He's a businessman because you rarely meet artists that are actually businessmen. And that's what I love about this gentleman. Met him at LA Comic-Con 2022 last year, and we just hit it off. Met his wife, loved his wife too, who's his manager. Yeah. She's amazing herself.
She's a business person.
She's a business person. So, he's the creator, but she's the operations side. And so they're a tag team doing major things. So I had to have him on the show. So, Sean Lenahan, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm all right. It's Monday, but I'm doing fine.
Hey, I can't blame you. I wanted you on the show because I remember meeting you at the show, and I remember talking. We talked for a long time. Every single day. It was a 3-day show. And one thing that drew me to you was like, this guy is always talking about it in a business sense. Like, so I'm gonna have a few questions for you, but first question is like, how long have you been an artist? How long have you been doing this thing for?
I mean, I was drawing on the walls with a crayon when I was a little kid. Ever since I can remember, I've been an artist. Like, it's just who I am, right? So
simple answer. No, it's a simple answer. I guess and I guess which leads to the next question, right? Because you've been an artist since you was a kid. Is there anything that drew you to it? Comics? I'm trying to think. Animation? I love comics.
Man, it was a compulsion of just putting like a picture up with something nearby. I'm like, I'm not kidding, man. Like when I was younger, I would just draw on the walls, dude, with a crayon, and drive my parents crazy. Yeah. And then I remember like when I was in 5th grade, right, I had like a notebook just full of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles drawings. Right. Got in trouble for that too. It's a compulsion. It's a healthy compulsion now. Yes. It used to be like what I would do just to like pass the time or just because I was bored. But I think it's also because when I have ADHD, but when I was in class, when I was younger, I'd always just doodle on the side, and I'd get in trouble for that. And then come and find out that's actually a way of retaining knowledge because you're doing something. We're that's ADD. We have people that have the ADD. When we're doing something, we're able to actually take in information easier. Yep. Because we're busy, right? So I think that was a lot of it. And it got me through a lot of stuff. And, it's one of those things like people eat, people wake up, people breathe. It's just like that for me, man. Like I have to do it. I have to be in some type of creative endeavor. Right.
Man, I don't blame you. Welcome to I am part of that club too, ADD. You can't keep my attention if you're not, I can't focus. Art is a part of, it's in my veins, man. I mean, literally, it's in my veins. I can't go a day without creating something. It does not work for me. So, I get you in that club, man. Next question, I guess, is what inspired you to become a full-time artist? I guess, when did you figure out, you know what, I can do something with this, man?
Well, I got out of the Navy active duty, right? I did 12 years active duty, and then I did 8 years reservist. I retired actually last September, right? Okay. So when I was in the Navy, I was what's called a mass communication specialist. And what they do is they do journalism, they do videography, I did radio in Japan. Right. I did regular journalism. I think I already mentioned that, photography, videography, and graphic design. And I did illustration. There weren't a lot of illustrators. But they took all the creative jobs. They were all different separate jobs, and they matched them into one job called mass communication specialist. So I was able to get all of this creative stuff together. And, once I got out of active duty and I went reservist, so reservist is just like 1 week in a month, and then you do 2 weeks full at like around summertime. right? So once I went reservist, I was like, yo, I need to go to college and then finish all that stuff up. I already had some prior college, but I wanted to get more done. I sort of realized, like I still love doing all the drawing and everything else, and I have a lot more time on my hands.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, I'm going to go on a ship for 6 months
Yeah.
and be on, right? I'm like, yo, I live in OC now, so this is pretty close to where everything's at, and I think I could do this. So, for I think about like maybe 6 months, I would just go to cons and just talk to people and just see, like, feel it out, see how legitimate some of these people were and like how hard it was. And, I think a lot of it was, I looked at people that were really, really good and then not so good. And then I was like, I could do this. I could totally do this. And, so I did it. And as you do it, you probably know because you started. When you first do it, you're like, okay, could have made more money, and then you sort of just revamp. You fix it up, and then you just keep going and you keep moving in advancement and try to just improve on what you did last time, right? So the hardest part is though, like for I think a lot of us that do the cons, especially on the West Coast, or in the big cities, we always do fan art, and it's hard because people expect that or they want that or like that's that guy that does that art, right? So when I try to bring my own stuff, sometimes it does well and sometimes it doesn't. I recently did a big sketchbook, right? I think it had like maybe 30 or 40 pages in it. Nice little 5.5. It's like 8.5 by 11, 4.5, right? So I did one of those. We sold them. Actually had to raise the price because people liked them, and that was a good feeling because it was like, okay, they're not just going to me because I draw, pretty robots. They also like the other things that I'm drawing, and so it makes me want to push out in the avenue. But it's hard to sell that type of idea to the audience that you already have because they are expecting that one thing, right? But I mean, I feel like if I already made that jump into the cons and I'm still doing cons, I mean, like San Diego Comic Con, this will be our third year in a row. We just did Chicago. Chicago was really well. If people are liking that and I could do that, I feel like I can make that jump to push out my more personal art. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I'm sort of just trying to take you on this trip here of my mind and where it's trying to go. So when it comes to like me and doing the artwork and what I want to do, I think just making that first step is like usually the hardest. But if you take your time and you plan it out, you can do it. I mean, anybody can really do it the way I think. I've seen some people. Do you remember? Oh, you probably saw it on YouTube. He just there was a dude who took like stick figures and made them do crazy kung fu moves.
Oh my god!
Right? That stuff blew up. I don't know if you ever seen it, but it's amazing. Right? It's just cartoon. It's just stick figures, but they're doing like crazy kung fu moves, and it blew up. Right? So I always have people come to me and be like, look at my portfolio. What do you think? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? And there's some people that are really like, they're terrified because they've had other people tell them,
talk them down.
I don't think you belong here. Right? And I'm like, I'm not going to say that, man.
I'm not saying that. No.
And it's because, like, it's what you do with it.
Yep, right? It is. I know that feeling you're talking about because
you make your beautiful drawings all day long.
Yeah,
right? I can make my beautiful drawings all day long, but if I don't do anything with it, like, so for some people it's good for therapy, but for me, what I'm doing with it is trying to get it out in the world.
Yep,
my way, right? It's for value. And if you're a person that draws pretty stick figures and you think you can make money out of it,
go
for it.
It's a livelihood.
Man.
Yeah. Like I get you. Because it matters, like what you said. I'm just like you. I have my own creations, and I noticed around 2017, I just started pushing my characters more and more. I just put them dead in the center, And I just was fearless about it, and it worked. So,
Yeah.
we saw each other's tables. You saw the stuff I had at my table. It was all my character stuff. I wasn't really. I'm done with drawing. And don't get me wrong, I love Iron Man. I love Black Panther. I love Black Widow. Yeah. But I can't keep drawing those, man. It's getting boring. So I can't just do fan art.
It's getting this weird corporate feel to it a lot. You know, like that's the thing. Like you want to go watch a movie and then just about like good guys and bad guys, and then they want to push political and ideological agendas that you're like, yo, dude,
I don't have time for that.
To stop the bad guy from being hit.
That's it.
Like I don't want it to be like crazy.
I don't think crazy, man. It makes a lot of sense. What you're saying. It makes a lot of sense.
Like that new Super Mario movie, like
I haven't seen it.
It was very straightforward. It's really good. Yeah. It's really good.
I gotta see it.
I mean, it doesn't preach at us, and it just says, this is Super Mario.
Yep.
And this is what would happen, and this is fun, and there it is. Like that's it. Like it was great. It was wonderful. So yeah, I get a lot of that feeling nowadays too from when it comes to the industry and everything.
Yeah, well, they're trying to
tell this story, but
I think independent guys like me, myself, and you are. I don't know if we're trying to. I wouldn't call it trying to find our corner. I've just decided I'm gonna be a rebel. I'm not gonna conform. I'm not gonna do what they want me. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And don't get me wrong, I've met people from everywhere, from Paramount Studios to Marvel, and I just look at them all the time like, okay, what the f do you want? I feel like, why are you coming to my table? Me and you ain't got nothing to talk about. I don't need your money.
Yeah.
Once you have that independence like you have, them coming at you really doesn't move you. You're like, okay, you got money. I don't give a damn. Exactly. I don't need your damn money. You're not giving. You can't give me the one thing I want, which is love of my craft and passion of what I do, and most importantly, independence. If I join you, I'm no longer independent. Now you're telling me what to do.
Yeah, I had a lot of those people run on me with the whole NFT thing, and I'm just like, that's great. Whatever.
Great. But it will fade out.
Everything fades. Everything like moves on. I like to tell this story. We when I was doing the whole, hey, let me go and search for or talk to people in the industry when I'm at cons, I was also doing things like, hey, let me go see about working in the industry in like video games or whatever, right? So there was a lady, she works for DreamWorks TV, right? She does the cartoons on like Netflix and everything, and she's a director, right? And she works her way up, and she was giving us a talk out here in OC to a bunch of art kids, right? And I was like, oh, I should go look at that because I could, find out about the industry. And she's talking and showing all this stuff, and like there's so many people that are younger than me. I'm like 40 and they're like 20, right? So they haven't experienced a lot in life, and they haven't. I mean, I've been around the world and I've seen all types of crazy stuff, right? So I just asked. I was like, hey, let me ask you, director, how much of you is in this work? And she's like, none.
Oh my God.
Like, okay, how much is the guy below you?
Hell no.
And she's like, well, we have the guy who does the layouts, the composition guy, and then we also have the background guy, we have the lighting guy, we have the person who makes sure that everything looks, in style that it needs to be. Then we also have the person that makes sure that, all these are all the colors that we have. In other words, everyone's a cog, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I've realized when it comes to like a lot of that, when you're a cog, these people had to work really hard to get these jobs with these companies, right? They have probably fantastic portfolios when they first submitted them.
Yeah.
But when you get there, right? When you get there all day long, you're just that guy.
That's all you are.
Like, sometimes you get a little bit of the other one. Sometimes you get, and then she became director.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what was the last thing you really drew? And she's like, I haven't drawn in a while.
Damn.
And I'm like, holy crap. Because it's sort of like, once you've done that the whole day and you get home, you're like, you don't want to draw.
Nope.
You're just taking in that paycheck. You're just taking it, and you're doing it for this corporation, right? And maybe that's what you want to do. You want to work for a corporation. But for me, I was like, I don't want to be a cog.
Nope.
And if anything, at the end of the day, if somebody does come to me from a company, it's because they want my artwork, my way, my style.
That's
right.
Exactly
So that's sort of the way I like to look at a lot of that type of stuff.
It's funny how you answer that question, because it leads to the next question. And I love that answer, because like I said, I knew the day I met you, I was like, this is my type of dude. This is the guy I need to be talking to, because we think alike. So it comes up to the next question. What challenges do you face as an artist? Because I think you already kind of talked about it. The BS of just working for a company, and that you just become a cog. But what are the challenges that you face as an artist, because you're independent? You think for yourself, you create.
So that's like very. So everything we were talking about before is sort of like, it's about one is it's sort of like businessy, but then we were also talking about things that I'm just like, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Me doing that, right? I don't want to do. I was in the Navy for 20 years, man. I've already done what someone above me wanted me to do. Right, like the government, right? I don't want to do that anymore, right? So I'm retired. I'm taking in retirement, So I have a new job with another company where I'm actually, the artist, right? Today I just did 3D animation on things I designed and I planned out, and I work for the corporation. It's for them, but everything I'm doing, I did. I took initiative on, right? So, and then I can still come home and be fine with whatever else I'm doing. Actually, I'm working from home, so whatever. Right. But when it comes to like the challenges I face as an artist, right? Not so much. I don't really think about business wise, because I mean, again, everything fades. But I feel like if you stick around long enough, people are going to remember you. Right. There's people who are just like, I can't do this anymore because of legitimate reasons. Kids, health, family. Health is a big deal to me as an artist, because how many artists have you seen that are just like,
look a mess?
They were really cool, but then they sit behind a desk all day long and they don't do anything for their body.
No, they don't work out. They don't do any of that.
They don't eat healthy. Nope. And they don't get out and get sunshine.
No.
You need to.
You need to.
Right? You should be working out like at least a few times a week, getting some vitamin D, eating healthy, all these things, getting up, standing up, walking around. I try to protect my eyes as much as I can, but there's some things that are going to fall through the cracks. But if you ever notice, being an artist can actually be very, very, very painful to the body. Later on in life, especially, and some artists just die early because of things like that. No one really talks about it, but I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, man. I want to be around for a hot minute.
Because it's not relevant. That's nuts, man.
Well, but to me, I feel like artists should really try to look at that a lot more, because it actually helps. I think when it comes to like hey, I want to work longer because I've worked out and I feel healthier and better, and I don't know, it sort of pays itself forward. But for challenges overall as an artist, I just think about what can I do to sort of, I'm always trying to just better myself as much as possible. I'm also trying to like learn as much as I can. Like I can look at something by like Van Gogh or whomever. I don't know. It's just think of an old famous artist, and I'd be like, I don't want to do still life, so I don't want to do these big backgrounds and everything else. But hey, I do like the way they use these colors, or maybe I like the way they did the composition. Right, composition is pretty much just math. Right, and how things are arranged. So I can take things like that. So I'm always just trying to challenge myself and look at things. I've noticed a lot of people, they're like, well, I don't do backgrounds, or I don't like to draw below the waist. I mean, I get it. It's faster. It's easier. and I do it. I do it all the time, like not drop a little bit and things like that. But I feel like, at the end of the day, if you try to do the harder things, then you're probably going to get a lot better
Yep.
At being an artist and trying to challenge yourself. And also try to learn a lot of the new tools and tricks of the trade, because
Yep.
there's so many tricks, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many tools out these days. Dude, when we were younger, right, as like teenagers, we couldn't look up on the internet because the internet didn't have all that. Right
Nope.
now, it's like, oh, I want to learn about, how to do, my own like metal print pressing type of thing at home.
Yeah.
How do I do that? And I can just look on YouTube,
Yep.
and they'll pull up 5 videos about it from some moms in Indiana. Holy shit.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep. No, it's okay. I don't think shit is a cuss word. Shit is not a cuss word technically.
I'm like, that's something we never had when we were younger, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the kids today, they have a lot of advantage over
Yep.
a lot of people. I mean, you could literally just email someone who's famous or really good artist, and they might write you back.
Yep.
I've had people write me back, and I'm like, hey, that's cool. Like we didn't have that type of connection then.
No.
I feel like, I mean, we had letters, but who knew? But I feel like there's no excuse these days for a person not to try to better themselves when it comes to anything really with the internet, but especially with art. I feel like there's so many sources out there. So with that being said, I just say to myself, there's no excuse not to try to challenge myself and do more and be more. And the older I get, the more I'm like, I love these artists. I love all this stuff when I was growing up. But the older I get, I'm like, but what's me? What's my style? What do I need to do to sort of like be like, when people see it, they're like, yeah, that's Sean. Not Sean did that one, right? So that's my challenge, trying to figure out just more ways of bettering myself as an artist and challenging myself with techniques and just learning like whatever else I can.
Right.
I might start with, hey, how did they paint this? And then in research, find out, more about the anatomy of a cat. I don't know. But these are all things that sort of just grow on each other. And I feel like we're really lucky to be in this type of age as artists. But I mean, people have a lot of doubts and I think reservations when it comes to the AI art, the AI art stuff. But to me, I'm like, it's what you do with it, right? It's a tool, and you can be that guy. You can be that guy that just takes another person's art and just redoes it. With AI or fills it in. But
it's not yours.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, that's boring. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to make some quick cash and you're just slinging things.
Yeah.
Hey, I think your art may be more of like your salesmanship than anything else.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think, this just says to me as an artist, hey, now people are going to search for more tangible, actual art instead of things done digitally. They'll still go for the digital stuff, but they're going to value your original art even more. So I don't feel like I'm not threatened by it, right? I'm not threatened by it. To me, again, it's a tool. And also I feel like if you use it properly, it could be really inspiring. So, I'd rather have 1,000 great ideas from typing something out instead of just going, what should I draw today? Right? It just makes it so much easier. After just, all right, I think I'm going to draw that. Because sometimes what it spits out looks so ridiculous. But then you're like, yeah, actually, if I just move this here or move this here myself, and then I'm like, well, I've done that. I might as well just, I can take it and grow off of it. So, like Basquiat, he used to paint over other artists and stuff all the time. I'm like, we'll just do that. We'll just do that, but it's AI. that
Yeah.
draw off of, whatever. As
Yeah.
long as at the end of the day, it's more me and everything else.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I know you talked about this. I know you say you didn't do it, but I guess how do you promote your artwork?
Oh, so
Hey, if
back
we
in the
get
day,
now before we keep going, if we get
yeah,
disconnected for any reason, I'm gonna find a way
yeah,
to get you back. So just in case, I want to make
yeah.
sure.
I mean, I'll just do the link or something. Or is this like the thing where it's timed, right? It's
Yeah,
timed.
sometimes it acts weird. So if it does, no problem. I'll just come
Oh,
back
okay.
again. We'll just pick up where
Yeah.
we
So
left off.
so promotion mostly now is just I feel like I have a better response when I just do cons, right? I mean, I can put stuff on internet all day long on
Yeah,
social media, but you're just another thing in the feed,
yeah,
right? So if you're going to be that other thing in the feed,
yeah,
you better it better be something amazing.
yeah.
And I'm not Mr. Like everything I put out is amazing. I can't I because that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work,
Yeah,
right? So mine's more like here's some things in between, and eventually you're going to get something I feel is amazing. Um, but you know, so there's that. Like social media is such a rat race that it almost sort of pushes me away in a way because I'm
you're
like
not
it's
lying
just
about that.
I just don't. I just don't. I feel gross about it sometimes, right? Because then you're not like, hey, I'm putting my art up here and I want everybody
Yeah,
to love it for what it is, right?
yeah,
But now you're like, but I also have to go and follow like all these people that follow this person
yeah.
and then like three things on theirs
Oh
and then
God,
comment on two just so I can get traffic flow.
that's
And it's
ridiculous.
just really weird.
It
It,
is
it
very weird.
feels dishonest, right?
Yeah,
It works,
it's a
but then
self-serving type of thing.
and you can meet cool people that way, but then you're just like, this doesn't feel right. And then they're like, but it has to be organic. And I'm like, you can't be organic in anything that's digital. What
No,
are you talking about?
yeah,
Right? It doesn't make sense. So to me, when it comes to promoting, I sort of just like I want to do more shows, man. I want
yeah,
to do more shows. I think about those bands back in the day,
yeah,
or like really good musicians who
yeah.
are like, how do we get big? We did shows.
Shows.
We got people. We met people at clubs.
Yep.
They came and saw us. They heard us. They loved it.
Yeah,
That's how we did it.
yeah,
And I think there's something to be said about that because it's more tangible.
yeah,
We're coming back to the tangible stuff, right? It feels more real. It feels more like, hey, I saw them. I saw them do it. I saw them make the art. I got to talk to the person
right,
in person, online.
right.
Uh, yeah, if you're gonna do more promotion in person, I should say more in person stuff. You can
Right.
do. There's like things that people like. They get online, they draw together. I've done stuff like that. I think that's a little bit more tangible than just here's my thing for today
Yeah,
in social media. But yeah, I'd like to just do more shows. We
yeah,
did it. I'm part of a gallery show. We just had an opening. Like what was it, Saturday?
yeah,
So yeah, I like to do a little bit more of that.
yeah.
Um, that's about
I like
it.
the way you're thinking because a lot of artists they have this fear of I don't want to call it competition, but they're always worried about how many artists are going to be at the show, how much they're not going to make. I stopped worrying
Hmm.
about that a long time ago, man. Like I go to the shows
Hmm.
not about money, but it's just like I'm gonna get out my brand. Like you've been talking about all this the entire
Yeah.
time we're talking brand,
Yeah.
getting out my style.
Yeah.
I used to only sell posters, and then one
Yeah.
day I told myself, dude, I'm getting tired of selling just posters. This is getting boring. Like I need to do something else. So
Yeah.
that's when I came up with the apparel that you see now that I'm wearing, and some of the stuff that you saw at the art shows. I just don't want to depend on one
Yeah.
thing to make money. That's
Yeah.
what was really eating at me. I was like, this is not enough. Like, I can't keep selling $5 posters or $10
Yeah.
posters or whatever the cost of the poster is going to be. It's just not enough for me anymore. I
Yeah.
want to
See,
have
that's what you were thinking. You're thinking, hey, let me make something that is more you,
yeah,
right? More
yeah,
something that you can
yeah,
sort of like, yeah, right. Where me, I'm like, uh, I'm not going to sell this for $5. I'm going to sell this for we went from 15 to 20 to 30. Now
Me
things are
too.
at 30. And then online, like it has to be more because of shipping.
Right.
But I'm also like in that mindset of, people pay like what, like $5 for a comic book,
Yep.
right? And each one of those pages took like 8 hours or more to
Yes.
draw,
Thank you. Thank you.
right? And I'm like, to me, I'm not gonna. I mean, if you really like something like that,
Yeah.
I
Two
mean,
hundred
I would
bucks.
pay a lot more.
200 bucks
I
ain't
would
gonna
pay a lot
hurt.
more because, yeah, right. So to me, I'd rather be considered more like fine art
Yes.
than just comic book art, or
There you go.
like this, looking like everybody else. I'm like,
Yep.
what sets me apart? Also, I don't want to work that hard.
No. You work already hard
I want
enough.
to work smarter, not harder. I mean, I don't mind drawing every day, but
Yeah.
I see these people and they are just straight up just like working their butts off, and
Ass
they're
off.
amazing artists. And I'm like, but you're not getting the money that you're worth. You're
Yep.
really not. But I mean, I work at another job, so
Yeah.
I'm taking in other income.
Right.
But if it was like, hey, that's all I have, then I'd probably try to figure out other ways of doing it. I know there's other artists out there that started in comics, and then
Yeah.
they're like, well, let me see if I can do this stuff for myself. And they're
Yeah.
like, hey, let me make my own comics
Yeah.
and publish them through these people, and then I'm going to
Yeah.
make toys,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to make, apparel,
Yeah.
and then I'm just going to do paintings. I'm going to do shows. So that's the way I'm looking at it, is like, how can I do my art, but have it be have a lot more longevity, or just, have a lot more value,
Yep.
way more value.
Value.
So, we've talked about these days, once we've done a few more shows, that'll be it. And then I'll probably just start doing limited edition prints, and then like one of 100 or something like that. And then, yeah, we'll see where that goes.
I
But
tell you one thing,
I don't
Sean.
know. I
We,
don't know.
we 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 agree on one accord. I do no longer sell $15 posters. My posters are $50 now.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that makes me laugh is that when I'm at the art shows, people want to negotiate. I'm not negotiating, dude. I'm not the guy at the other table.
I've never.
I
I
don't
mean,
negotiate.
yeah. I don't think I've ever had anybody negotiate. They've been like, "Hey, is there a deal?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, there's a deal. After you buy
Deal.
3, you get $10 off or
Oh, for
something." But
something, yeah.
that's about it.
That's about
Right?
it. We ain't negotiating. That
Yeah,
stuff is hilarious,
I
man.
meet these artists that are amazing, and they're like $15
Oh my
commissions, and I'm
God.
like, mine start
Hell
at 80,
no. What?
right?
No,
like,
that ain't gonna be
like,
me. No. Man, hell
yeah,
no. This hoodie right here is $300. I have
yeah.
I tell people all the time, I'm not changing my value. I'm not going to devalue myself for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, which leads us to our next question,
No, no.
which is actually an awesome question. Where would you see yourself? Where do you see yourself as an artist in the future? Because I know with all this stuff you're building a brand. So, where do you see yourself in the future?
I I would like to be. There's that artist Frank Frazetta.
Yeah,
He used to be a hustler, right? And he was like doing comic strips. He was doing comic books. He was doing covers. My cat is here, uh, and all this stuff. And he was realizing most of the money went back to the publishers. Most of the money went back to, those guys. And he was like, I don't want to do that anymore. All right. So he's really good at painting. He did a few movie posters way back in the day, and then he started getting really well known for his fantasy covers for books and things like that. And what he did was like, I'm keeping the rights.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to pay this higher commission.
Yep.
I'm keeping the rights.
Yep.
Right. So if you ever get one of his art books, like about his paintings and things like that, they'll be like, hey, like this band used that painting, but then also this book used that painting. Yeah. It's the same painting. Yeah. Right. Or maybe just a little tweaked. Yeah. Right. Maybe a little tweak. Dude has a shield. Yeah. Like maybe has one logo or icon on it, and another one has a different icon. Right. But his idea was like to do that. And he said, like famously, like, I could do one painting and that would be the money I make off of that would be enough for me to live off of for a year. Right. If I could get to that level,
Yeah.
right, then I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's what I would love to be at.
Yeah.
Right. So it's working up to that. And I almost wonder if it's way easier than way I'm thinking. Because we have this idea in our minds as humans, like, you know, well, I need to really get to a point where I'm worth that. Yeah. But sometimes we're already at that point and we don't really know it. There's like, I heard a story about this guy. He does like light show type things, like digital light shows. And he he was really good at it. And he's like told himself one day, he's like, I'm just gonna say $50,000. Right? $50,000. Someone has to say yes eventually. Yeah. And he just would say it, he'd be like, you know, I do this, people like it, it's this good, you know, and he was known for it. And then he's like, but my price now is $50,000. And he would get no. And then the one person said yes, right? And that's all it takes, right? So I feel like I could almost be like that at some point. I don't know if it takes courage or if it just takes clout. Maybe clout, honestly, man, but a little bit of both, maybe.
I think both, honestly, because sometimes I'm very courageous when it comes to my art. Like, I have no fear, but I will not devalue myself. It's not gonna happen. My price is my price. I don't. There's a something. You brought it up. Once you figure out that you're valuable, my art teacher, who's also my mentor, he tells me all the time, Adewale, your value is your value. You're not for everybody. Everybody's not supposed to be able to afford you. So you're gonna have everybody's not your customer. That's the most important thing too. And so when I started seeing that, I started noticing the difference between clients and customers. Customers are one-time purchases. Yeah. Clients are consistently coming back to you all the time. And those are the people that become your fans. So for me, what you're trying to do is not unachievable. It's actually very achievable. You just have to give yourself time to do it. Like, I used to not do what I'm doing now, like where I got beanies, cell phone cases. I mean, I would just come up with stuff that I love to do as a kid. I was like, I can make money off this shit. Pardon my English, that's what I would say. But I love to do it.
I don't mind it when people curse. I'm a sailor, so I'll curse people all day long. I love to curse.
Hey, man, I got a cousin in the Navy, so I know. But you know, I think the way you're honestly going is awesome. That's just me. And I think when we met at the art shows, that's what I like about it. I met in a kindred spirit, as they say. I was like, this dude thinks just like I do. Bull job, like people just ripping you off and devaluing you. Hell no. So, you know, I think you're going in the right direction, bro. Have faith in what you're doing. Love what you're doing. Keep loving what you do, because I know you love what you're doing. And your cat saying what's up, you know? So he always that direction, man. And this brings us to our bonus question. I don't know if you're into the superhero thing, but I always ask people that question. Who is your favorite superhero, growing up or otherwise, you know?
So when I was younger, it used to be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man and all that stuff. These days now, I don't know if I have a lot of like superhero loves. I like I was saying earlier about the industry, it's sort of like it's getting sapped, man. It's getting sapped by all these corporations. And sometimes there's really good high notes, and sometimes there's really good, you know, or there's really low notes, you know. And then just seeing the way it's consuming society in a way. Like when we were younger, we were like, man, wouldn't this be great if there was like, you know, if comic books blew up. But now comic books blew up. and it's crazy because, you know, we just did C2E2, right, which is in Chicago. We were talking about artists, right? And half of that thing is Artist Alley. And it was wonderful. Yeah. I made so much money, and I think a lot of other people made money there too that were artists. What do you see? You see something? All right. So, you know, and it was great because when in California, whenever we do a con, there's a lot of like corporate, like there's Pops, or there'll be DC, Marvel, Bandai, you know, all these other corporations there, and it feels very businessy.
Yeah.
Where when I was at that con, that wasn't a thing. There wasn't like a big, a big display by Bandai or a big display by that corporation,
Right.
or video games or anything like that. It was more like, hey, here are all these comic book shops from around the Midwest,
Right.
that are all here to sell their stuff. And then it was very grassroots in certain ways.
Yeah.
And another thing I liked about that con, they did an auction for Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, right? Okay. So as an artist, they would come to each artist and be like, hey, do you want to contribute some of your art to be auctioned off?
Okay.
And I put in 3 pieces, man.
Yeah.
And those 3 pieces made upwards of $1,000. And they weren't like great either. They were like, hey, these are things that I think they look okay, and I won't miss, but I think other people would enjoy them, but whatever, because I'd never done it before. Right. I wanted to give something, but I didn't want to give nothing, like an amazing, but I didn't want to give nothing either. So I was like, people would appreciate it. Right. So, but yeah, man, it made money. And I was like, so next time when I do it, I'm probably going to do something pretty good. And hopefully that goes for a lot. But, things like that, I appreciate more when it comes to comics.
Yeah.
And when it comes to people, so comic book characters, I don't know if I really have a favorite comic book character.
You've outgrown it. For me, it's the backbone of what I do. And I think for me, it's because I have my own characters. Like I literally have my own characters. I literally have my own animation series I'm going to have, my own comic book series that's coming out. So I don't, kind of like you, I've found my independence and I've found my direction. You know what I mean? I don't really, my day is focused on them now all the time. These characters you see behind me on the banner, that's all I focus on every day. Those 14 characters every single day. I don't know. I'm past that corporate point. I can't let a corporation decide what I do. Hell fuck no. Pardon my English, but
no, not at all.
I can't do it, man. I think that's why I like talking to you when I met you at the show, and that's why I wanted you on the show too. I was like, I gotta bring somebody that's like me on the show. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean, that you don't like super. But it's something I ask all the time. So before we get you up out of here, where can people find your work? Of course, the social media platforms, you can tell them that, and the website too, so that way they can always check out your stuff.
Yeah. So that was a thing I thought about when I was first doing all this. How can people easily find me and always find me? And it's just my name, man. Sean Lenahan. Even better, Sean P. Lenahan. The P is for Patrick. That's my middle name. Okay. A lot of people want to go and do a brand big thing, but I'm like, I just want it to be easy, right? So then people are like, who is he? Oh, he's Sean P. Lenahan? How do I find him? Just put in his name. That's it. There's no trick. There's no crazy thing. So it's Sean P. Lenahan .com. Okay. Sean P. Lenahan on Instagram. Sean P. Lenahan on TikTok when I do it. And I think I have a Twitter. I don't really contribute to it, but Sean P. Lenahan on Facebook. I even have my email on my webpage. Yeah. It's at the very bottom. It's encrypted for people so they can't like hack it or anything. But if you hit it, it'll take you to it. Right. So it's really easy. So I've learned a lot of things, right? When I majored in college, I already knew how to illustrate. I already knew videography and photography and all the other stuff from the Navy. So I just majored in web design. Right. Yeah. So I just do my own web design stuff. Right. And things like that. So yeah, this is another one of those things about, being ADD, but also as an artist wanting to take on more challenges. I like to be very much like, I see that people pay a lot to get this done. Yeah. Can't I just do that?
Thank you.
Right. Right. Because why do I want to pay? It's like those people, they're like, I'm going to pay a guy $50 to $100 to change my light on my car, and I'm like, yo, just go down to AutoZone to pick that thing up for like $2 and do it yourself.
But we live in a world of convenience, man.
Minutes.
We live in a world of convenience now. Nobody wants to do anything for themselves anymore. So
but But we also live in a world of convenience where everything's on the phone, man. Like you
Yes.
just look it up, right?
Yeah. It's
So
just
I get.
ridiculous, man.
Let me
Oh
tell
my
you,
God,
if you
Sean.
work at a job, or if you work with me,
Yeah.
or under me, and you go, "How do I do this?" and you can't follow that up with, "I've already tried this, and this, and I've looked it up," then I'm like, "What are you doing here, man?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you don't have any of that, like the
Initiative.
thought, why could I ask Sean when I can just look it up on the internet? I know how to read, right? I know how
Yeah.
to comprehend. Hopefully, I hope that maybe you better know how to comprehend if you got that job. So, I feel like a lot of these things are at our disposal and at our fingertips, and we just need to have the will and drive to do it ourselves. You know, I've self-taught myself a lot of things. The only reason why I went to college is because a lot of people want that on a resume.
Yeah. And it's Pardon my English, but it's bullshit. I think a college
It
degree is
is.
the greatest bullshit ever invented. But we could sit here and chat all that up all day long. I'm not a big school guy, even though I went to I got my 4-year degree, but I also went to community college. And I tell you one thing, I learned more at my community college than I ever did at 4-year university.
Yeah.
I learned so much at community college. Orange Coast College, I'm sure you've heard of it, and Long Beach City College. That's where
Yeah.
all these stuff you see behind me is where I learned all this stuff. My
Yeah.
mentor taught me all this stuff, man. All he did was take my talent and help me to just enhance it. I
Yeah.
mean, I never got any of that 4-year university. So I tell people all the time, what you saying, be independent thinking, do it differently, man. Don't be afraid to be different, man. I think that's the problem we have now. People are afraid to be different. So, I can't stress that
Yeah.
enough. But,
Yeah. Feel like
it's,
an artist too.
yeah,
You
yeah,
heard of that term where you feel like an artist?
yeah,
Everything's sort of been done,
yeah,
right? And it's all out there.
yeah.
Take what other people have done, but don't take it right out. You just be like,
No,
hey, I like a little bit of what this person does, a little bit what this
yep.
person does, a little
There
bit
you
of this.
go.
And when you're picking, people like, oh, you're just stealing. Yeah, but you're choosing what you like,
Yep,
right? That's you
yep,
choosing what you like. That's a taste,
yep.
right? So, and when you put that all together and you make it your own, right? You've stolen like an artist, but you're being an artist by putting it out in the world in your own way, your own taste,
Yep.
right? And things like that. And that's what's going to put you, sort of in a that area of different and specialized and individual and also valuable because you're not going to be like everybody else. That I think that's one of the biggest shames about going to these cons. For so many you see these artists
Yeah.
that are like, I want to draw like this person, and I'm like, yeah, I get that, and I do too, but make sure not everybody else is drawing like that person, right?
I,
And you look up and you're like, you got 40 Miyazaki's, you got
I don't
all
think
these
so.
other people.
I don't want to draw
So
like anybody else but me.
yeah,
Without
yeah,
sounding so arrogant, but I'm the man. I don't see myself as like,
yeah,
what I'm saying? I see myself as I'm the man.
yeah,
It's like Bruce Lee said, the man who thinks he can win is the man that eventually does. And that's me. I
yeah.
always tell myself I am the
Tenacity,
greatest.
man.
I always tell myself that I am the greatest. Can't nobody fuck with me. Pardon my English, but that's what I always say. So
Yeah.
once you develop that mind state, you start to see that success. It's that manifestation. And that's like Stan
Mm,
Lee started somewhere. Jack Kirby started somewhere. John Vrov started somewhere. You started somewhere. I started somewhere.
mm.
I just tell people all the time when they come to my table. They're like, so what you think of my drawing? And I told this one guy one time, I said, don't ever ask another artist that again. What do you think of my drawing? You don't need their permission for what you've created. You need your
Yeah,
permission,
exactly.
your validation. I asked him, I
Yeah,
said, what do you think of this drawing? So,
yeah,
everybody isn't like me where they're very assertive, not really looking for permission. I'm just I don't give a damn. I'm not,
yeah. Well, but you're also honest, and that's
yeah,
that's refreshing. And
yeah.
that's the way I am, right? I don't tell people like what they want to hear unless they tell me that's what they want to hear.
And I still ain't gonna
This
tell
is
you
what
what you
I
want to
want
hear.
to hear. Yeah, it'd be like, well, okay, I'll tell
Hey,
you what do you want to hear, but you're
I'm
living a
me.
lie,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So, yeah. So, but definitely, that's a really good thing to say to someone. It's like, hey, yeah, um, what'd you say? You're just like, don't ask me if your art is good. Just just you can show me your art, and you
yeah,
can ask like if I have any tips, but stand by your work.
Yep.
If you did it, you put time into it, you thought about it, it's here, that's part of you.
Right.
That's not like, anybody else. Even if you are doing fan art,
Right.
that's your pen on the paper. That's your time.
Yep.
Something of you is in that.
Yep.
Right.
You kind of recreated, like, I tell you, not that I needed his validation, but if you remember this animated series from the 90s, X-Men, the animated series.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it. I was at WonderCon.
No, I do.
Yeah, I was at WonderCon, and the gentleman that produced it, him, Mike White, who's the producer, and then his assistant producer, Mark West, they came up to my table and they was like, "So, young man, are you the artist?" I said, "Yes, I am." And he's like, "You know why?" I said, "I know, so I don't know who you are." And he said, "I'm Larry Houston." I said, "Wait." And then I had to try to put two. He said, "Son, yeah, you remember the X-Men animated series?" I said, "Oh my God, you're Larry Houston? Holy crap!" I said, and I'm not really much of a fan guy, but I was so blown away. He came to my table and said,
"Yeah,
Son, the reason why I came up to your table was because I like your style. You have a different type of style, a signature style." And it's been on ever since. Like, not that I needed his validation, but after that, I stopped giving a what people thought anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm the man.
There's something about that, right?
Yeah.
There's something about that. Like, I mean, it totally helps us as artists to have other people come up and make those type of comments, especially if it's somebody that's in the industry or, that has clout.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes you just see people that, like, when they'll come and look at your art and just be like,
damn.
Whoa. Yeah, like, I've never seen anything like this. This is like different. This is moving me. Like those type of things, those are great to take home.
Yep,
And they keep me going. And that's something I can get, right, and know is legitimate than a comment with an emoji.
Yeah,
right. So social media is great in its own way.
Yeah.
But for like that real tangible human stuff, I need to have that face to face. And the more I'm getting older, the more I'm like, oh God, I got to be around more people, which is fine. It's just, sometimes I'm just like, people come with like a lot of emotions and like characteristics and things like that I have to digest in certain ways. But if you're kindred spirits, I think I'm willing to do a lot of that, and talk to them and give them the best that I can give them.
I mean, with that said, Sean, you can't do anything better than that. But I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, this has been one of my best episodes ever. I've really enjoyed this, man. And what I'm gonna do next time is I'm not just gonna have you on. I gotta have your wife on. So now we get to talk about the business side of this stuff, because you're talking about this creative side, but we want to hear about the lady that's behind with you, making you to get to where you are. So I want to thank you for being on the show. Y'all, this guy's incredible. He's a great artist. So look out for him. He's at these different expos, man. LA Comic Con, Anaheim Expo, and where else am I leaving out before we get up out of here? What is my?
I'm gonna be San Diego Comic Con.
Okay, San Diego Comic Con. He's a frequent guy that I'm trying to get into, if I ever get into that. So
we were lucky. We got in during the whole COVID phase.
Yeah,
they did a like special edition.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of old school people that are there too. It's a little tough to get into. And that's not me. That's all Annie, right? Annie's killer when it comes to like getting me into things.
Yeah,
I don't know what she does. She just has a magic power that I'm married and I love it.
You guys gonna meet this lady. So next time they come on, you're gonna meet this lady. You're gonna see the business side of this Sean Lenahan art universe. So Sean, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, man, and have a awesome, great week, and good luck at all the expos, man. Great seeing you, bro.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, man. Be safe.
All right, brother.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. So that's our show for today. But before we get up out of here, we want to show you some of the new stuff we got. As always, can't forget the phone cases we got now. Different sizes, iPhone and Samsung Galaxies as well. And we also got these new phone cases that flip cases. So look out for that. We got the glasses cases. I'm always telling you about, if you got glasses, like to wear glasses cases. And it comes with its own cleaning cloth. So glasses cases, y'all. SignVision.com. And as always, I don't want y'all to forget, the first official Carjack for Assassins comic book is coming out, but you want to get this bio book available now on SignVision.com. So when the book comes out, You understand this awesome combo that's coming out. So, y'all, that's our show for today. Before we get up out of here, I want to thank our sponsors. This Sound Vision podcast is brought to you by A4 Capital Consulting. Growing good business anywhere and everywhere. Let A4 Capital Consulting take your business to the next level. That's A4CapitalConsulting.com for details, y'all. That's A4CapitalConsulting.com for details, y'all. And this podcast also brought to you by Anadel for the ankle. Don't live with foot pain. Let Anadel for the ankle make your feet happy again. All right, y'all. So I want to thank y'all for listening. I want to thank our guest, Sean Lenahan. You know what I'm saying? It was awesome having him on the show. This podcast is produced, written, and directed by yours truly, Adewale Booker Jr. Please check out our website at soundvision.com for our podcast episodes, for our products, from beanies to hoodies to glasses cases to phone cases. So, you know what I'm saying? Soundvision.com. You know what I'm saying? It's just where it's at. And please subscribe to our podcast or just to our YouTube channel at Soundvision, because YouTube is where it's cracking over there. It's an awesome platform. And we can visually, not only can you listen to the podcast, we can also see visually. So please subscribe to our podcast and give us some great ratings. 5-star, please. Don't be a hater. You know what I'm saying? And please check out our social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all at Soundvision. And please don't forget to review us, rate us, give us a 5-star. Don't be a hater. And as always, y'all, continue to aspire and achieve. Have a great week. Stay safe, y'all. Peace.